What I do with the grade 9s once a week is I give them a chance to talk with each other in their table groups about whatever they want, as long as it's in French.
Qu'est-ce que tu vas faire après l'école?
Moi?
Oui.
Ok. J'ai joué au basket.
Avec qui?
Moi.
Et tu? Et toi? Comment ça va?
The expectation is that they're participating in a conversation in the target language. They can talk about whatever they want, as long as it's in the target language. They all sort of have the same structure where I've got the topic at the very top in English. So it'll say asking about the past weekend. And then everything else to follow is in the target language. I have in a box the question. What do you ask when you want to ask somebody about their weekend? And I have elicited the structure for the response with a blank. And then underneath is all the options, or many, many options, that could go in that blank space with pictures beside each one. So they all have the same structure, and the kids get familiar with that structure and know how to ask questions and respond. They talk about whatever they want. Usually, I ask them to always start by greeting each other, asking how they're doing and how they're feeling. They'll talk about what they did on the weekend. They'll talk about their plans for the next weekend. I've given them a lot of the ideas in the conversation book, but I'll find that when they've run out of pages, they'll go to the back where there's asking about opinions. So then they'll start asking opinions about the newest Drake song, or what did you think about this movie? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Like the newest movie that's in theaters. And I also encourage them, if somebody's talking about what they did on the weekend, that they ask them follow-up questions. Use the question words. I have them posted on the board. They have them in their conversation books. Ask more questions. What can we do to keep the conversation going?
Comment était la test?
One of the ways that I support students is by providing them all with a conversation booklet that I've made. This is a great routine because it gives kids a chance to just use the language. I tell them that I will never mark them on their conversations that they do. I will never correct them during their conversation time. I will talk about some of the things that I noticed or saw afterwards, some of the common errors I may have heard, and we'll talk about it after in a discussion. But at the time, I want them to just be able to feel safe and feel comfortable to take risks, to just talk. And so I tell them, this is your time to work on your fluency of just getting something out, getting what you want to say out, even if it's choppy, even if it's full of mistakes, just being understood. And then we'll work on accuracy during the rest of the class. We make it a bit of a competition. I post all the classes, all the French classes on the board at the front, and I time them. So when we first started, we started with just the first 2 pages. We went through the pages, we talked about how to do it, and I said, okay, let's just do these 2 pages, greeting each other, asking each other how we're doing. And I timed them, and it was a minute. So I wrote their time on the board, and we gradually added pages every week where we went over, okay, what are on these pages? What kind of things? Let's go through these. How do you say this? How do you ask this question? And every time we would add on, I would time them. And then by the end, we'd made it through the whole booklet. They knew it was in there. They'd practiced everything. So I said, okay, let's see how long we can speak for. If I hear someone speak in English, I stop the time. If I hear that, or I see that a group has kind of, their conversations fizzled out, they're not really talking about anything anymore, I stop the time. And the kids, it's created this sense of competition. When they come in the class, they go to the board and they look and see what the other class's time is, and they always want to beat each other. I do encourage them. I say, you know, the ultimate goal is to beat your own time. Let's remember, like, we want to be at our own best. So the first aim is to beat our own class's time, and then we'll look to beat each other. But they love that sense of competition. My advice to other French teachers would be to start slow. Start 1 page at a time. give them the first page, model it with a few students, have them practice it in partners, and then have it do it in their groups. And then when you have them do just that first page for every class for a week, like 3 classes, then introduce the next page. Do the same thing. Model with a few students, have them do it in partners, then have them do it in groups. It's a slow build, but it's really important that they are confident with each page. They understand what they're asking, how to ask it, and how to answer. And then once they've gotten comfortable with it all, they can engage in those conversations. And then eventually, I've also tried to say, now try it without the book. And they're often terrified at first, but then they close their books. I always give them the option to still look, right? Because we want it to be them to feel comfortable and safe. But they're often very surprised and proud of what they remember without looking. So it's a slow and gradual build up to them to just be able to talk about anything in the target language.